All over Canada, cannabis, or more commonly referred to as marijuana, will be legalized and decriminalized. This legalization event will probably bring a permanent cultural change to Canada. Let's dive deeper on this. It's not up for debate anymore. It's surely happening. Legal weed will be available starting October 17, 2018. Let's look at why and examine the advantages and disadvantages. The main reason weed is being legalized is because of its vast medical purposes. Research has confirmed that it is a very effective drug in curing chronic diseases such as Crohn's disease, migraines, post-traumatic stress disorder, epilepsy, and more. Weed can also help patients addicted to recover from it. If you give an addicted patient small amounts every day, you can easily cure them, as to instead cut connections with weed and cause more problems to the patient. Also, the quality of the weed will be better than the weed you can buy on the black market. People can also know what they're buying. Medically grown marijuana is more trustworthy than the marijuana on the black market. The legalization of marijuana is also for recreational purposes, grown under care of talented growers. Meanwhile, the black market weed is shady business. Most importantly, because of legalized weed, profits go directly to the government and not to criminals. This would help in lessening organized crime and killing the marijuana black market instantly. The money the government makes can go to making Canada a better place. But now let's look at some of the disadvantages from marijuana. No matter what medical advantages there are, marijuana is a very potent drug. At the end of the day, drugs are dangerous for your personal health. Marijuana is also a gateway drug, which means if someone uses it, they'll be exposed to other drugs. This can also help increase other parts of the black market, and many people will be in need of help. The addiction to the drug can also be dangerous, and lung diseases will be more common. Marijuana can change your perception, and like alcohol, can lead to impaired driving. Now, we have a few other opinions from other people I've interviewed. So, based on your culture, would your culture be accepting of the legalization of marijuana?
As a depending of my family, I want to do that.
What they're doing is they're making it legal. So you know how everybody gets cigarettes from the store? Mm-hmm. Anybody can get weed or marijuana. So, knowing that, do you think it's a good step for Canada to make weed legal, and why?
I don't think it's a very good step.
For the weed, like by saying that they're needed for medication, but they're not going to use it for medication, they use like.
Do you think marijuana should be used only for medical purposes?
Yes. One for just the medical thing.
Just for medical.
For the medical.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't think it's a good idea to have it legal.
Do you think the legalization of marijuana is a step forward overall for Canada?
Yeah, I think that the legalization of marijuana is a step forward for Canada. I think there's a lot of different facets in our society that it's actually going to improve things. I mean, medical marijuana being something that's really helpful for people with a number of different ailments. And the other thing too is that it's going to start to alleviate pressure from our justice system in terms of incarceration due to marijuana, based crimes. And really take a lot of power out of organized crime.
Do you think marijuana should be legalized only for medical purposes?
Well, I think the reality is that as it stands now, when it was illegal, you still had a massive amount of people smoking marijuana. And so I don't think that it being illegal was doing anything to really prevent people from, obtaining the drug and then using it. So I think in that sense, by ending prohibition and having it where it is legal, now at least the substance is controlled. It's in a place that will always be safe for people. You know what you're getting. And the other thing is that, it opens up a giant revenue source for the government.
I think you can do the same thing with the Portugal situation, where they legalized all drugs and got rid of the drug problems.
Well, yeah, I think Portugal is a pretty good example of what happens when you kind of, remove prohibition and start to tackle things at a, at more of a street level, if you will, where, the idea is, especially for the harder drugs, that people who are using them, it makes it easier to kind of track those people and also get them to the services that they might need. You know, as opposed to, you know, really stigmatizing the issue and then leaving people kind of fending for themselves. So I think there's a lot of benefits to it, but it is something that is a really challenging idea for society right now. And so it may be something that takes a long time to really kind of, you know, implement. But, you know, I think with the marijuana legalization, it's kind of a start forward to, you know, thinking about things in new ways.
Could you provide your cultural point of view on the legalization of marijuana?
You know, my cultural point of view, I come from a Romanian Chinese background, and, you know, from the Romanian side anyways, definitely, you know, just the thought of drugs are typically deemed bad. And so I think, you know, a lot of the people, you know, I think a lot of people in a lot of different immigrant communities might really struggle with the idea of a country legalizing, you know, drugs, especially where religion's involved and where religion is like a, you know, like a large part of people's lives. You know, these changes might come as a bit of a culture shock.
Marijuana is being legalized, and let's just hope it's a positive step forward overall for Canada.